What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. And this is a COVID edition because I have COVID, but I am such a hero that I'm still doing the podcast. This is the spirit that Manchester United needs on the field. that fighting spirit.
Not
Podcast.
COVID.
Not COVID, no. What do I say? It might be foggy today, might be saying things out of turn, but that's not new. That's just normal shit. So let's just get to it. If you're listening to the podcast on iTunes, Omni Studio, or at All Things Comedy, we appreciate you. If you listen to All Things Comedy, there's other podcasts there with other great podcast hosts, comics like Bill Burr, Bert Kreischer, etc. So check out those podcasts too. Our sponsor is onthevalleyapparel.com, and we have our own tanks. We have our own t-shirts there. So go to the link below in the video. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the link there. Check out our merch. And we have the usual suspects. Martin is back with his ripped Diesel shirt. I don't know if he... but what's up, Martin?
Hi. I missed you guys. I was in Poland for a month visiting my family for the first time in 4 years. I caught up with some of my soccer friends even, and now I'm back. I'm happy to see you. See you all. Hopefully, you will recover soon from this virus, man.
I'm the only one that got it. They're good.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about you. I hope you.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
You'll be fine. You know, soon. Because we need to play some soccer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And so, Martin, thanks for pulling up. And we have Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England, Southampton fan. What up, Lee?
Hey.
And we have
I did an episode of COVID a few weeks ago. Nobody said shit.
I know you should have.
I wasn't here.
You should have grabbed. You should have grabbed the occasion to call yourself a hero. I don't know why you did. You know, I would never pass up an opportunity to call myself a hero. That's on you, bro.
Yeah.
But you did. I think you did like 2 episodes of COVID, right? Was it?
I was isolating, yeah, but I didn't really have bad symptoms. So
Right. Yeah, you didn't have my COVID. Yeah. So you're lucky. You know. And then we have Neil Chakravarty,
Hey.
comic. He's in San Diego, Chelsea fan. What's this? That smile. Neil's been kind of out of it since there's the prelim before the podcast. You know, we're talking to somebody who's just dropped 4 points in a row.
4? What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure it's more than that.
Yeah, so
It's
Neil,
8 points in a row.
even though he hasn't had COVID, he will be exhibiting COVID symptoms throughout this podcast. Here's a funny thing. When I got COVID, right? So I was supposed to shoot a sketch with a friend, you know? And I was like, all right, she's going to come over at 2 p.m. to shoot this sketch. And I have to stop her from coming over. So it was like, I think it was a Tuesday or something. So I sent her a text, right? And then I sent her a text, and it's in the morning, early in the morning, like 10 a.m. or maybe before that. And I sent her the text, and I assumed she got the text, right? So I sent her the text, and then I'm just laying on the couch, sweating, aches, fevers, whatever. And then 2 p.m., I hear a knock on the door, and it's Manuela, my friend. She's Brazilian. She's here to shoot the sketch. I said, didn't you get my text? She's like, no, you sent a text, and I felt so bad. And I said, listen, I got COVID, and you can't come in, and you can't shoot this text. So she said, I didn't get a text. And I look, and I didn't send her the text. So I'm like, who did I send the text, right? So I'm looking through my phone, and I find out later I send Neil this text Wednesday.
Oh, damn. You know what? I saw that
Neil
text.
never hit me back. Neil never hit me back.
I was gonna, because I've been trying to call you. I was like, I'm pretty sure he realizes this was not meant for me, so he probably he got
So
it.
he almost sent a text to someone and
I
you
mean-
almost called him.
Those drop points must really. So Neil gets a text going, "Hey, Ma, woke up."
This is
feeling
even
like
before all the top points.
Woke up feeling like shit this morning. Don't know if it's COVID, so gonna test and see what's up. Don't want to endanger you today. Neil
No,
doesn't
you
respond.
didn't say the endangered part.
No, it's in there. It's in there. It's all in there. Read it.
Ah, I read the initial part, and I was like, this is clearly not meant for me. But I should let him know that. So I was gonna call you, and then I forgot calling you. So
yeah, she didn't call me, and then she shows up at 2, and I feel like an idiot. And then she's like, "You didn't send the text." And I sent somebody this text.
oh my god,
I only
I'm so
found it
sorry.
like the next day. It was hilarious. Well, thanks for caring, Neil. Appreciate you.
I'm so sorry.
But
I was clearly not in a good place because there are words. Now that I'm looking at it again, there are words in there that should have left at me. COVID, endanger.
say that again.
Like now that I'm looking at the text again, there are words in there that should have like left out at me.
COVID.
Like you literally said COVID and you used the word endanger.
Yeah. See, how do you not notice those words? I haven't heard from Neil till now. It's a week later. Till he add on to the link for the podcast.
I swear, after Chelsea have a bad result, Neil just doesn't read his messages properly. He's like, I presume that's just someone running me down about
Life
the
is
game.
Yeah, I feel sorry for
No, it wasn't that because this is Wednesday. I was fine on Wednesday. We just beat Spurs. The League Cup semi-final. Twice in a row, dominated Spurs absolutely with a team that it's on its last legs. Like,
So let's get into that from there. Martin, either you're turning red or your whole screen is turning red.
Oh, by the way, Martin, welcome back to the podcast. I must tell you, there have been people literally on Twitter DMing me asking, "What's up with Martin? Why is he being missing from the podcast?" So I'm not joking. Like this actually happened to me yesterday. I got a DM.
Oh, perfect. Those are the people I'm paying. Those are the people I'm paying.
Nobody's asked me.
No, because you're there. You're there.
You've been there.
Yeah, you're there.
No one's asking me about it. They're just asking Neil.
Nobody's asking you.
I only paid people in California to do that. No, I don't have a reach in England yet.
Yeah, Lee, nobody's asking you about Martin. You're good. You're lucky.
Yeah, I know. I like it. This is good.
Yeah.
Neil,
I'll make sure it happens soon.
Podcast admin.
Well, after these revelations, I don't think anybody's going to be asking me to check on people.
I know, right? Jesus. So here's the crazy thing. Martin's back, and Tuchel, so Brighton played Chelsea today, 1-1. Brighton. So there's a different type of football going on in the league where I remember when you only had to worry about beating the top 4, and Burnley would be like one of the teams that would give you trouble. Now you have to worry about the top 6, and when I say top 6, it's not really a top 6, but you see what I'm saying. And now you have to worry about 5 other teams that are not Burnley who can give you a tough ass game, like Wolves, Brighton Hove, Aston Villa, and I can't remember the rest of the list right now. But there's just teams that they're not in the top. There's West Ham, which is in the top right now. It's just teams that you just don't want no parts of them. And everybody's like I guess there's 2 thoughts. I'm getting conflicted here. First, let's talk about Tuchel. What he said after the game today. I felt, Neil, that he was still complaining. He's like, my players are tired. They're tired. You can see it in them. I'm not blaming them. They're tired. But Brighton Hove played this weekend too. Then they had to play today too.
No, I think they had a 9-day rest.
They had a 9-day rest. They played this
I
weekend
think so.
against Crystal Palace.
I'm
And they
getting a
tied.
little
Yeah, they tied
confused
1-1.
because
They tied 1-1 against Crystal Palace this weekend.
maybe then.
Yeah, it's Friday. They played that on Friday, I
They
think.
played on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got the extra day.
Yeah, it's just a
No,
day.
so actually this game, now that I think about it, because I went back, I realized this was actually a game Chelsea had complained a few weeks back because we were already having a busy system, and then they bought one extra game and they bought it forward. We wanted the game to be played on the Wednesday, and they bought it forward by a day when we already played on Saturday. And so, I mean, in the back of that, it's kind of expected that he was going to bring it up because there's literally a statement by Petr Cech on the club website saying that it's kind of unfair the way the fixtures are being stacked up. So, but anyway, I mean,
that's not how Arsenal feels.
Yeah, or you could do what Burnley do and just take a month off.
But see, this is so bizarre. I'm sure we'll come to that later.
6 more games than Burnley right now. You've played 6 more games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll come to that later. With what's happening with the cancellation of games, but I don't think today was. I mean, you don't know. Like, we don't see these players every day in training. Like, they went up north. This is the third away game in seven days. So he's complaining about all of that. That players are mentally tired, physically tired. You sometimes don't even know what game you're playing next. You're just having to go through the motions, sort of. So, I mean, that might happen, but you're not making things easier for them either as a coach. This was literally, the way I looked at it was, this was our 4th different formation we played in 5 games. And we're chopping and changing the attack. I really felt against Spurs the way we played. We got more back to the basics. The thing under Tuchel has been that we've been successful in staying compact and letting our forward players with their wing backs do their thing up front. We've kind of, because the starting wing backs are not there, Chilwell and Reece, Aspi and Alonso, they're slow. They might have their positives, but the fact that they're slow means that if they try and go up forward, they can't come back. So you're always leaving a lot of spaces. So you can do small things to change that. And to his credit, he kind of did that against Spurs. He played 4 at the back. He played kind of like a 4-2-2-2, which is what Rangnick's been trying to implement at United. And so there were very little spaces between, and those two were Malang Sarr and Azpilicueta. Sarr, who has more pace about him, and even though he's really terrible going forward, but since you're playing that extra attacker, you don't really need that much of attacking play from your fullback. So I don't know why he had to again change that. Against Man City, he changed it, and he went in for a counter-attacking system with 2 players, Ziyech and Pulisic, who are widely known to not be comfortable holding onto the ball. And it was so disoriented. We didn't have Mount. And then today, he again playing at Marcus Alonso against Tariq Lamptey. I mean, Tariq Lamptey, I think every time I looked at the TV, he was there. He was in the middle of the game. So
should have been in blue.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah. So that's another thing. We made mistakes in the summer, and then you're complaining about not having enough bench strength. Well, you should have thought those things through.
Yeah, nobody can feel sorry for the team that gives up Lamptey.
Yeah,
and just
So those things are there, and so therefore, I think today, motivation-wise, mental tiredness, I think that's the job of a coach. That's what you're supposed to fix. I don't think at this level you're really trying to teach players how to play football. You're trying to get them perform at a really high level on a game-to-game basis.
Yeah, I felt there was an issue towards December with him just complaining too much, and then that's when, I think that's when they started to fall apart a little bit. It's you just can't complain, man. like even when you watch the NBA and Pat Riley had injuries, like Pat Riley had a team, or when the Lakers, Martin might remember, the Lakers had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic, and two of the greatest players of all time, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar went injured in the playoffs, in the finals. He just put Magic
before Game 7, and Magic played the center and won the game.
Played center as a rookie.
1980,
as a rookie, Sixers. And he just handle your business. There's no complaining. You just go do it. I don't know if that was Pat Riley or the coach before Riley.
Those coach before Riley.
It was the coach before Riley. But it's just like, and I just always learned there, like, good coaches don't complain. They just make shit happen. And if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. It just is what it is. But Tuchel, as much as a genius he is, I've just never.
Can I say something?
He complains a lot.
To your point, can I? As I recall correctly, I might be wrong, but I don't think so. In 2014, when Germany won the World Cup, the goal that decided the World Cup in the final against Argentina were two subs. I think Schürrle played the ball to Goetze, right?
To Goetze, yeah.
Those were two subs. So those were adjustments, right?
Those weren't starters.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's just so many instances of like people without their main play. Like look at Chelsea versus Barcelona in the Champions League, that 2-leg, and then like losing players and still.
I mean, you don't have to go that far back, like Chelsea in the last 10 days itself. I had a good performance against Liverpool. Played back-to-back games against Spurs where he dominated them. So it can be done. It's not something that cannot be done.
But it's the complaining, bro.
And as I said, like, but I know you refer to the Lakers coach, but really, like, I haven't seen, at least in soccer, I haven't seen a happy losing coach. Like when it's not going well, Mourinho, Conte, Klopp, Pep. Pep in his first season when they were like trying to scrape top 4, and Bravo was having those clangers. Like, I really haven't seen a team that is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the managers just being able to shrug it off.
No, but I'm not talking about that. It's just like the creating of the excuses, as opposed to like, hey man, just figure this shit out,
I mean, he'll turn around and say, what am I supposed to figure out? I can't make Alonso any faster. I can't make Aspi any faster. Do I really want to go back to scratch, working on a brand new formation in the middle of the season?
But then,
I mean, I feel it can be done because I see it's been done in a few games.
Right.
How sustainable it is, I think those are the things that he'll come up with. But I think it can be done. And I think there are certain things that you could have done in the summer to make things better. But I will say, though, I kind of prefer him complaining like this, what he just mentioned, what he did after today, than what he did after the last game, where he kind of threw Lukaku under the bus.
That's my other point, too. Yeah. It's like, come on, like, that couldn't have been good either.
That was bad. That was bad, especially after you made such a big song and dance. And you know me, like, I was on this podcast. I backed Tuchel's conduct through that whole interview drama completely. But when you draw the line under the issue and you say that you didn't like it because it brought unnecessary noise, you're kind of going and doing the same thing by pointing the finger at Lukaku after a big game. And you see all the media's gonna eat right into it. The fans, the opposition fans, social media, everybody's gonna lap it up. And he's trying to take it back after this game, like, because he's kept getting asked about Lukaku, and he will be asked because, like, you kind of like opened that can of worms. Right. So, but yeah, he shouldn't have gone to that dark place.
I have a feeling. Let me just say, sorry. I have a feeling like he has something personal against Lukaku. Like,
I don't think so.
I mean, he shouldn't. But even the way he handled Lukaku incident was a little bit overboard. But then I was like, brushed it off. Said,
but like a lot of people say that it was not overboard too. So I mean, there's like two sides to it. You're kind of like you're damned if you do it, damned if you don't.
But you're a coach, not a fan. So it's like you can't be they're paying you to take your emotions.
No, I
out of
think
it
he
and-
I think he did even like if you take the emotions out of it, a one game till you clarify things, I think it was fine.
What do you think, Lee?
You can't pretend like it didn't happen. So you can't.
No,
That'd be really bad. Because
No.
then that basically you're telling the dressing room that you can just go and do tomorrow. Rudiger, you're not happy with the contract situation. Go talk to whoever you want, and it's gonna be fine because you're critical.
But then you don't bring up Lukaku and blame him for this loss against.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like that.
That's-
He was out of line on that one.
Mhm.
But I'm saying just that interview thing, like that. Everything till before that, I thought he handled it right.
Yeah. What do you think about it, Lee?
I agree, like a bit with the complaining thing. Like, good managers will just get on with it and find a way. I mean, they'll always have a little moan. It's not really the moaning; it's more the fact that they're dropping so many points with a squad that I know they've had some players out in that, but they really should be winning these games. And I think that's where the complainings come from. It's a frustration from Tuchel that they're not getting the wins, because some managers, they get the results and they have a little bit of a complaint, but they know they got the 3 points, so they don't really care. But there's a lot of teams dealing with this right now. Like, one of the best examples has been Bielsa at Leeds. They've been missing loads of players. They've had teenagers in the starting lineup, on the bench. And his motto is that they will always play. They won't cancel any games. I think there was one they were forced to, but that was it. And they had a bunch of kids on the bench against West Ham at the weekend and still turned them over at West Ham. Bayern Munich had a game this weekend with every player on the bench didn't have a single Bundesliga appearance. I mean, obviously they're Bayern and they make it work. But it's a weird time at the moment, and people just need to get on with stuff.
I feel like it's watching the richest man in the world complain about becoming the third richest man in the world. When you see like somebody like Tuchel, and then the poor people are like, the poorest people in the world, like, we're still the poorest people in the world. Why should we feel bad for you?
Yeah.
But that's only because
it's like complaining that like your Lamborghini is in the garage, so you have to use the Porsche today.
Yeah.
But
We're here with the Honda still.
But that's Roman Abramovich. That's the arena he has. He's an oligarch, Russian oligarch.
We're driving that 98.
That's literally what it is. Literally what it is.
Ian, what you're saying about the first richest man being complaining about the third, you're right. But the problem here is that he's being held accountable to why you're not the first richest man. So that's what he's saying. He's not saying that my life is shit. He's just saying there's reasons why that slip from first to third happened.
It's like it's
because he's competing against the top of the tops.
I know this, but does he know this? He's still in all competitions. He just beat Spurs 2 games in a row. It's like, hey man, this is the run of football. Like, by the end of the season, like when everybody gathers up all their trophies, like all this complaining might just mean like it was just a tough time. Nothing was going to be easy, but it's like, relax, Martin, you were going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll say a couple of things about Chelsea. First of all, just don't interrupt me. First of all, it's an Eastern European thing. I just came back from Eastern Europe, and it's fresh in my memory. It's some sort of arrogance, and I think that this particular job, being a Chelsea manager, is it burns people quicker. You can tell about almost every manager that was at Chelsea didn't stay for long. You don't have like a Sir Alex Ferguson story there at Chelsea, and you don't even have a Hasenhüttl story. Like, those managers burn out pretty quickly, and there's a reason for it. And then they complain. Conte was going crazy at some point. Mourinho, that's where Mourinho lost it initially, right, at Chelsea. So, and now Tuchel is kind of becoming a little bit of a Mourinho, the way he acts. I think the situation with Lukaku is really bad. That's a bad look. And to be quite honest with you, I don't see a comeback from that. I don't see how it's going to help the club and the team. It's not good. And I don't see, knowing Lukaku and his character, because I had a chance to listen to him being a guest on a podcast like a year ago or 2 years ago, where he spoke where he came from in growing as a player and what's his philosophy. He's a pretty proud person. So I don't think that's gonna fly. I think he's pretty much done at Chelsea as long as Tuchel is there. I don't think they can be on board together moving forward. And to be quite honest with you, even if I respect Tuchel as a tactical genius, I think he's a very, very good manager. His people skills need some improvement. And if that thing with Lukaku continues, I see Chelsea dropping out of top 4. I really do.
That's a part of what Martin was saying. And we was kind of saying it last week because, most of the pundits were saying that they're laughing at Manchester United's situation with Ralph as an interim coach. But we was also saying, and Neil agreed, that, being Chelsea manager is almost being hired as an interim manager. And the pressure of, like Abramovich, it's like Chelsea's third now? That's like being above the relegation zone in the other part of the table.
Yeah, but I think that's
also hand.
But I think that's all clubs now. Like you look at, Martin just spoke, but the reality is the Spurs have gone through 4 matches in 1 year. So
true, but it's more unusual for us. You know what I'm saying? But you're right.
It's for but what I'm saying is right now, if you're a club in the Premier League, you have expectations. I don't see, and it varies, right? Like Spurs' expectations are not the same as Chelsea's expectations. You're playing in on different tables, but no matter where you are, whatever your expectations are, if you're not meeting them, look at you brought up Sir Alex Ferguson, right? But look at the number of matches that have gone through United since then, because nobody has really cracked it. So unless you crack it and then keep cracking it, you're always going to be held accountable. And the sack is, I think, it's around the corner for any manager that's not moving as per their expectations. There's barely a club that has the patience to stick by a manager in really tough times.
No, there are some.
Hey, we've had 2 9-0s and our manager's still in a job.
There you go.
I mean, but you see his comeback happened in the same season, right?
Yeah,
he
the
didn't
expectations are lower as well.
Yeah, there's some, like when I feel like there's clubs.
You guys remember Man City, who sacked Pellegrini? He was like 12 months removed from winning his Premier League title, and they already announced that Pep Guardiola is taking over.
But there are some clubs who are rational. Like take Liverpool. Last season, you watched the entire defense fall apart before your very eyes from the Everton game. And then you're like, whoa. And then nobody was like, fire Klopp.
But that was, wait a second, but that is Klopp. Klopp is literally bigger than the club.
But that's
and
my
after
point.
so many, he won them a Premier League after 30 years.
Klopp, that's blasphemous, bro.
No, but I'll give you a Liverpool example. You remember how quickly Brendan
Klopp
Rodgers...
is not bigger than Liverpool.
Brendan Rodgers... No, he is. He
Klopp
is.
is not
Who
bigger
can
than
even
Liverpool.
argue?
Bigger than Shankly and Paisley.
No, I'm talking about right now. Like who runs the thing? He can literally get the entire fan base agreeing on whatever he says.
You're gonna make me start singing Liverpool. There's no way, bro.
I speak to enough Liverpool fans, and that's one thing. Like for them, Klopp is Jesus.
The same people who are watching Gerrard develop a killer so that he can replace this guy.
Paisley. What about Paisley?
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the history of the club. I'm talking about right now, because we're talking about what happened last season.
But I'm also talking about rationale.
Like I'm just saying, Klopp has so much credit in the bank. Like if this had happened in year 2 of Klopp before he had done anything, you never know, because Liverpool themselves got rid of Brendan Rodgers when just 12 months ago he had gotten Liverpool the closest they ever got to a Premier League title.
Can I tell you something?
And they sacked him.
But they won 5 titles in the 80s.
But can I tell you something?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what Martin's saying now. He's got.
No, but they had so much. They had so much history, you know. Like
Martin's like he's been to Poland. He's like harkening back to the pre-Soviet Union days, like the USSR. Can't stop talking about the 80s.
That's your club.
Martin, let me just answer Neil's question. That Liverpool has not just exhibited this rationality towards Klopp after he won. Like when Klopp got to Liverpool, he lost a Europa final, right? And he lost like 3 finals before he he won the first one. You know, he won.
Oh,
Lost
yeah. But as I said,
Champions
like
League.
they're, but
Like-
as I said, again, when
It's
Klopp
so-
took over, the expectations on Chelsea, I think, are now matched by the expectations at Liverpool. That wasn't the case when Klopp took over.
Nah, I think you're
His
making
remit
a
was
different-
not to
you're
win
making
a
a
Premier
different
League
point.
in the
One-
first season or two.
One thing I will agree on is the importance of Klopp at Liverpool right now. I don't know about bigger than the club, but certainly he is hugely important to them. And I think Liverpool, like the Liverpool fans I know, they are afraid of when Klopp goes and when Salah goes. Like Salah's approaching the end of his contract right now, and he's not signed a new one, and has spoken about the club haven't offered him what he wants yet. Plus, he's like 30 now as well, so there could be two ends of an era coming up, and it will be really interesting to see where Liverpool go when those two eras end, because they've been so crucial for them, and if they don't get it right, they could be out of competing for titles for a few seasons. Potentially, they might get it right. They might stay. They might maintain it. But when you have a manager that's that influential, like he has been, then there's always that risk that you might not get it as good as you had it.
Right.
They should keep Salah, like no matter what he asks. Like
Right.
And I feel like he's not gonna have, because he's so driven. He's supremely fit. I don't think he's gonna like the whole hitting 30 debate. I don't think he's gonna
He's
have
still
a
got some
drop
good
off.
seasons left.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
clubs are still being cheap and like trying to use the 30 thing. It's always been the thing that clubs have used as leverage against players. Oh, he's turning 30, so we can give you this contract. We finally got you where we want you, and we can get the most out of you. And you got to prove yourself every year to get a contract. But you can't be messing around with these 30-year-olds now. These 30-year-olds are 28. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like Salah it's like 27, 25-year-old shape. And he just keeps scoring. You can't like use this age thing anymore with these players that are just really into the game. So I feel like Liverpool is playing a really dangerous game, and it's worth risking the money on Salah to see if they're right or wrong.
And he's 30 in June. I just
He's
checked.
30 in June. And he said, Chelsea, he said, Liverpool knows I love them and they're the club I want to be with them. They know what I want. I'm not asking for anything crazy. Like I saw like his quote. So I don't know.
I think he wants 400K, which is what De Bruyne is getting.
Yeah, give it to him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to stop scoring.
And I really like reinvesting in salary on a player who is like Salah is over the course of 5 years so much more cheaper than buying a new player.
Yeah, it's going to
Paying
cost
that
way
hefty
much more to
transfer
find someone of that
Paying
level.
agent
Even if
fees.
you can, they might not even be able to find someone of that level. He's so far above.
I mean, you
almost
literally have to
everyone
be you have to be better than one of the best players in the world. Who's there? Like, who can you get?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where all this started. I do want to give Brighton Hove their props for today and their performance against Chelsea. And, the defense of Brighton Hove today, like the way they played themselves out of trouble, the class they used to play them on so many occasions, especially towards the end of the game. And this is a team that sold their best defender. And then, sometimes I forget how big Dan Burn is. And then to go up against, this is one occasion where Lukaku is not going to just be like to just bully motherfuckers and run over. And him, and what's the name of the guy that scored? Like
Webster.
Like, where the hell does, like, basically, Brighton Hove sold their shortest defender to Arsenal. It's like, that's where they judge, like, defenders on, like, yeah, he's good, but he ain't got the length.
All their defenders are huge, though. Like, Dunk's big, Duffy's big.
Yeah, Dunk, yeah. Yeah, that's the one I really meant to mention. It's like, but they got these huge basketball players.
I remember like last season when Werner had come in. I think one of our first games was against Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
He gave this interview after the game saying that, it kind of like shocked me. how physical everybody is. And when he's saying it in the interview, you can see his eyes are looking up.
He's still looking for them.
He's indicating the height that he was just not prepared for this. So, but yeah, Brighton top team. Like every time, I'm never surprised when we play Brighton and it's a really harsh game. They actually play like a top team. It's not just you go out there and give a big team a tough fight. They actually play like a really top team who maybe don't have top players. Yeah, cutting edge. I mean, they have Danny Welbeck in 2022 up front. So
I can't wait to see Potter at, like, he's going to get a big job. Exactly. He's going to get one of the big jobs eventually. Yeah.
And we say
it might not be for another 2-3 years, but he'll get one.
Well, we'll see how smart he is. Like Graham Potter's
Don't go to Everton. Don't go to Everton.
Don't go to Everton.
Yeah, don't take a step back. let's every aspect of their play, like they actually play like a proper big continental team. They do. Just with lesser players.
Like even their recruitment of Cucurella, it just comes out of nowhere, fits right in, and he's like one of the best left backs in the
Cucurella and Lamptey, as a pair, who's better than them right now?
Yeah, they didn't pay much for either of them.
Right. Yeah, and the only mistake I say Graham Potter made today was taking Lamptey off. And I was like, who's he making this sub for? Chelsea? To make it even, to give him a chance to win the game.
I think Marcus Alonso deposited some money right there while being on the pitch.
Listen, man, you keep shitting on Marcus Alonso, but
he's getting burned.
But Lamptey is, I think they clocked him as the fastest player in the league.
It's not Traore?
They were saying it today during the game. Like, let's look it up.
Yeah. Last season it was Shane Long.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
He hit the fastest sprint last season, I think.
And he's in his 30s, right?
Yeah, he's in good shape though. He runs. He's always going to run. He can't score for shit, but he can run.
But they're saying it's your guy, your other guy, Lee, is the fastest. Armstrong, right?
Armstrong did it this season. I remember he did it earlier this season. Yeah.
But he didn't. He didn't quite live up to expectations so far, right, Armstrong?
He's been in and out of the team. He's like Hasenhüttl doesn't really know who the best forwards are. They've had injuries as well. Like Broja's come in and just nailed the spot down now. And then it depends who plays with him. Is it Adams? Is it Armstrong? We've had Walcott play there. We've had Teller play there. We've had Redmond play as a forward as well. So all these guys can play there, but Broja seems to be the undroppable player now. Yeah, because he does what the others can't do as well. He can run in behind. He can hold the ball up. He can head the ball. He can do
everything. And Neil knows why I'm laughing as Lee talks about Broja.
It's like we move from Lamptey to Broja. Come on, B, let's talk about Livramento too. Like,
how about Conor Gallagher?
I know, because Martin's
dressed like you can get back.
Yeah, true.
You can get back Lamptey too. I was talking to somebody today, and the buyback clause is completely in your favor for Lamptey.
I don't think we have a buyback for Lamptey. I don't think we have a buyback for Lamptey. We have a buyback for Livramento, but that doesn't kick in till 2023 summer. Like we can't exercise it.
I think you should check.
Lamptey?
Yeah, I think you can get Lamptey back if you wanted to.
I mean, this is dereliction of duty if you have a buyback on Lamptey and you're not exercising it.
Like somebody was telling me, I was talking to Lloyd, and they were saying that like the deal of the sale is completely in Chelsea's favor. So
I'm not sure though. Let's see.
But that's just what I heard. So Martin, you play tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. I hope we will. You never know.
Leicester away, isn't it?
Yeah, Leicester.
We had 4 games canceled. And the funny thing is that we are actually doing pretty well since Conte arrived. I'm very, very actually optimistic about what he's doing at the club. I think he's really changed a lot of things for better. And we didn't lose this organization of the team, the style of play, the players. They don't know what to do. They function better as a unit. I think he makes better tactical decisions. He makes better personal decisions. We haven't lost a single game in the league since he got on board. And an interesting fact is, yes, we lost to Chelsea twice in the cup, but to be quite honest with you, we sure did. But look at the table. We have 4 more games to play than Chelsea, and we're only as I believe we're only there's like
five games behind.
5 games and 11 points. So if we get 11 points out of 15 possible, we'll be tied with Chelsea. If we get 12 points out of 15 possible, we'll go ahead of Chelsea in the table. So this is a very good position for us. And obviously, Conte is complaining about the team being too small, and I agree with him. But he also said in the conference, I was actually listening and watching the press conference, he said that winter is usually not the time to buy players. It's usually better to buy them in the summer because you can spend some time with implementing them to the team. And there's one clear guy that is missing for this team. Everybody sees that. It's a deep hole. It's the Eriksen position. It's the position that we never found after Eriksen left Tottenham. And I don't know. And here is the decision Conte has to make, which guy is the guy for that position, because we do need that to fill that position in the first place.
I think the big thing for you before you look at Chelsea as well is that you are 4 points behind West Ham, but 4 games in hand on them. So
it looks good.
Top four should be your aim for sure.
Yeah, I mean he's getting points from those games that he's supposed to take 3 points, and that's the biggest difference between him and Mourinho last year. And well, Nuno just lost 5 games this season, and Conte hasn't so far won. So that's here you go.
All right. So you think how you feel about your chances against Leicester tomorrow?
It's gonna be a difficult game, probably a draw. I'll take a draw. But
is the game going on?
Yeah, that's a good question. We don't know.
Why? Were they saying anything about that game?
Leicester are missing a lot of players. They cancelled earlier in the week against Watford. I think they were due to play. Maybe.
But here's what Conte said. Because
they only have one forward, I think. I think Daka's the only forward they've got at the moment. Vardy's injured and Iheanacho is at the AFCON.
Actually, Daka is a good player. But I'll tell you this, because I listened to the whole press conference, and Conte made one very good point. He said, they're canceling our games because the other teams are missing players. But when we were missing players, they kicked us out of the conference league, So kind of...
He also said
that was a different competition, though. Different rules.
No, I think Conte's point was they could have played that game if the Premier League had rescheduled. Coincidentally, the previous Leicester game for Spurs, they did not do that, and so therefore, so then they could not meet that the Conference League game. So I think there's a lot of shady stuff.
A bonus anyway.
Conte would like to win something in Europe.
No, he's fine. He's fine. I like what he's doing. I really do. I think it's a huge difference between what we had with Mourinho and especially with Mr. Santa Claus. It's a huge
you better
difference.
give him some money this month.
I don't think it's happening this month. He might buy one player. There's just no players available.
I read a report that Conte, who's your guy? Levy went to meet your owner, Joe Lewis, in Bahamas, who, I mean, as we all know, is in the Bahamas trying to evade taxes. So he's lived there all his professional life.
The money for Spurs.
Yeah, so he's literally
but there are no players available, unless we buy, I don't know, Pogba.
I think Adama Traore is being spoken of as somebody Conte, because I know he was linked to us when Conte was here, so that might be somebody he kind of likes.
I wish they could have bought Traore before the game we played against them.
I'm hearing Pogba is being shopped around by United. They're actively looking for.
This is their last chance to sell Pogba. Yeah. But why would Pogba go to Spurs?
Relationship with him from Juve?
Yeah.
Yep.
But why would Pogba go to Spurs when I think his other options are going to Real?
He's going to Real Madrid. He hasn't done anything since World Cup. He really didn't. That's the truth.
I know, but then why will he sign up to keep doing nothing for the rest of his career? That's more of a reason for him to move to Real Madrid.
That's actually
take it to gamble there.
Martin, that's what you get for being disrespectful to Pogba.
Oh, come on.
If Pogba moves to London, he can party more. He's already putting blue and white in his hair as well, so he's already preparing for Spurs. Maybe, who knows?
There you go. I'll take him. I think he would be good for this particular team. I think he's a good fit.
What do you think of Southampton? Now, I knew Southampton playing Wolves was going to be tough for Southampton. You know, like Wolves is like leading into this game was the team that let in the second least amount of goals besides Man City, but they've also scored. The only team that scored less goals than them is Norwich, but somehow they figured out a way to score 3 goals against Southampton, and Southampton's been on a pretty decent run. So it's just like just feels like this is just how Southampton is. This is what their season is. This is how you become like, you know, what you are, like a mid-table team, or like just below the middle of the table. But how do you feel about Southampton in 12th right now?
The crazy thing is we actually played okay against Wolves.
Okay.
We had 10 shots on target to their 5. We had more of the ball. We just made silly mistakes at the back, and we didn't take our chances. So the performance wasn't concerning. The mistakes maybe. So like the penalty was questionable. Maybe Bednarek got a little bit of the ball. The ref didn't give it at first. It went to VAR, and even then it was questionable.
I wouldn't have given that penalty.
Yeah, he gave the referee a decision to make. He dived in.
I feel like they both missed the ball.
Yeah,
and met each other.
Well, Bednarek did get a touch. You see on the replay, he got a touch, and then he's hit the guy.
Like he kicked the ground and then went to try to kick the ball, and the ball was gone. But also the ball was gone for the player who was fouled. And it's like there's this thing where if you're the forward and you can get your foot to meet the defender's feet, then it's a penalty, and that's not a penalty.
But then we had like the second goal obviously was difficult because that one everyone just switched off after the first header, and then Cody was the only player who stayed alive to it and finished it off. And then obviously Ward-Prowse's free kick was world class. You don't like he's. I mean, I'm going to get called biased, but for me, the best free kick taker in the world right now.
Seriously, probably is. Like
seriously, like he's scored more. Nobody's scored more Premier League free kicks than David Beckham's the only person who scored more. And right now, his conversion rate is unreal. Like he's not a Ronaldo where he scores one great one and everyone says he's amazing. Like he's consistently, like every couple of games, he scores one.
That's why in our group chat, I asked you why you think he's not being chased by bigger teams. You know, like I think he's a really good player overall. He can pass, he can move, he can hit all the set pieces like nobody else pretty much. And I don't know why
he's a really hard worker and a great ball winner as well. He's a really good box to box, just energetic midfielder. But free kick wise, like there's not many that are on his level. You've got like the likes of Messi and people like that. Like Trent's pretty decent at Liverpool as well, but Ward-Prowse just for consistency, like he does it.
And he also has variety in his free kicks. He's not very predictable for a goalkeeper. Like he doesn't just go in the air or like aim for top corner. He has a lot of different ways he can get it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he keeps the goalkeeper guessing. That was a Juninho, I said it in the chat, Juninho style free kick, and I've never seen him do one like that before. But if you add that to your arsenal, that's pretty devastating.
Yeah, I mean, and that got us back into the game at 2-1, and then we hit the woodwork, which would have been 2-2, and then obviously Traore comes off the bench, and you know when he gets 1v1, like it's game over. He just ran, did what Traore does, and then 3-1, the game's done. But it could have gone the other way. Like I say, I'm not concerned by the performance. It was just one of those days where we didn't get the luck because of the mistakes at the back. And we didn't convert at the other end well enough, so we got what we deserved in the end. But the performance wasn't bad. So if we'd have gone there and they dominated us and we lost 3-1, I'd be worried. But we got good 3 points against Brentford. Bad dropping 3 points here. So like you say, that's we'll be comfortable. We'll be lower mid-table, and I'm fine with that as long as we're not in the relegation battle, I'll be happy.
Right. That's good.
I think you're safe from the relegation battle.
Yeah, well, I think we're like 11 points clear of it right now, which is fine by me.
That's better than like normal stages.
Yeah. I mean, we've played the same games as Norwich, and they're on 13. We're on 24. So Norwich are 18th right now. So
thank God for Norwich.
Yeah, we're 10 points ahead of Watford, who are in 17th and played the same games. So, two more. We played 2 more than them. But yeah, I mean, I'm not worried. There's other teams that will get sucked into that, like Brentford's form's bad. Everton are terrible right now.
I hope Brentford's form is bad because Manchester United plays them tomorrow at Brentford, which is not a fun place to play. You know, like they've given some of the top teams like a hard ass time down there.
Yeah, months ago though. All those tough games were like 2-3 months ago.
You think they're softened up now?
I think so. I mean, we scored 4 past them at home. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you all got a Broja.
Yeah, this is true. But I mean, obviously Liverpool looked okay against them at the weekend. They beat them without really like trying. They didn't look like they got out of second gear really. Like Brentford had a couple of chances. But Liverpool seemed to look fairly comfortable in that game, to be honest.
Yeah, without Mane or Salah.
Yeah.
And without Origi being around, and Oxlade-Chamberlain and Firmino and Jota. And so, you know, and they gave that game was at Anfield. So I feel like Brentford, I don't know. We'll see. Like Manchester United, let's talk about the Villa United game. And I feel like just United overall, I feel like everybody forgets what, and Neil brought it up, you know, because I'd been thinking about this in respects to like United. It's like when you brought up Pep's first season at United, you know, like I've been thinking about that. And in respects to like, I can't even watch any Man United TV or Man United forums, anything, because everybody's so doom and gloom. It just takes the fun out of football. And like I said, everybody's just being so disrespectful to all the other teams in the league because we're United. Well, listen, I'm United, but I'm not. I see what's out there. And
I mean, you don't have a divine right to do anything. Like in this
you
league.
you have no divine right to any 3 points. And there's some teams out there. It's like even Stephen Housen said the Brentford game is going to be a difficult game. But when we play Wolves, he says it's going to be difficult. So he knows, like he sees other teams because he gives you a breakdown, like of how the other teams. Like there's just listen, United fans, it's just a difficult league, and we're not 100%, and we just have a coach that's been here. Was it 7 months? 7 weeks. 7 weeks, and we have a new system. We're not at the full fitness. We're going to be good parts of some games, and then it's going to fall apart. Then we have to coach it together or come up with a bootleg way to see our way in and out of that match. And it's just like, yeah, it's terrible to like drop points, but to just expect 3 points, like from teams that have more organization from the season started, or their new coaches, like even with Gerrard, like I think he's been there. Has he been there longer than Ragnick has?
Slightly,
but not that much. Yeah.
Not that much, but I don't think his playing style is that much different than the coach that he took over for. I feel like there's a lot of similarities in the way like Aston Villa play, and it's just like, hey man, there's gonna be some difficult times. It's just like we've only lost 1 game, and you would never believe that based on how
I think it was more the nature of it though. Because if you told me before the game like United or Villa at home to United would be a draw, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that. But from being 2-0 up, I think that was the concerning part, where it's like, you know, 2-0 up, a good side just closes the game out and just, you know, wins that game.
I did feel Ragnick made a mistake. Like, I feel like we should have made 2 subs just to energize the midfield, and so that Donny sub, and was it Lingard? They should have just came on, or Sancho. They should have just came on earlier, just to like we need energy right now. Matic can't do this for this whole time, and like give us some energy, like just to stop the momentum and to inject some energy on our part. So I think our subs were made late. I do believe that Donny can give us more than they're saying he can give. You'd have to prove me wrong, play him, and let me see him make the mistakes. But
Ian, it's third coach already who doesn't play him, so there has to be something.
What do you mean third coach?
Because Ole didn't play him. Then who was the
Carrick
coach? Carrick didn't play him.
You're gonna call Carrick's 3 games?
Yeah, but still, like it's another pair of eyes. There has to be some.
But he was on the staff that agreed. Listen, everybody who's not playing him belongs to the same coaching staff. Even the people like Phelan and there's other Ollie staff there. It's almost as if you believe something, you want the person who's the new coach to believe it too, whether it's to the detriment or not. Like, I feel like Donny van de Beek can play, and
I heard that.
Say what?
I heard that. I think today Ragnick gave a press conference where he said they're gonna go ahead with the 4-3-3 with one holding midfielder. That might be a way for
him to get in
there. Van de Beek. If they're playing 2 box-to-box midfielders, then that probably gives him more of a shot.
I feel like that also is better for the number of players we have in each position, and like giving more people in more positions chances to play. Like, because we have a certain amount of forwards, and if we're only playing 2 when we have 6, now you get 3 in, and then you have 3 subs, and then we have like 5 midfielders. But if you're only playing 2, if you play 3 now, then you could sub in. You have 2 you could sub to. So it's like, yeah, I feel like we got to play. If we can't keep up the pace of the press, make people play as hard as they can, and then when they get tired, sub them out and put in the fresh press. You know what I mean? And then so just to sustain it, like the way we started that game against Villa, it was very impressive. But then we just ran out of steam. We need to keep putting coal in the fire and keep that steam up.
I think because Villa deserve credit as well, because they really like, you could, like, as soon as they got that 1 goal back as well, the energy and the noise in Villa Park was incredible. And then when Coutinho sort of poked in that equaliser, like that noise was just crazy. Like their fans really were like a factor, I think, in them getting back into that game. And just the whole like momentum shift was something which is what you would hope a good coach like Rangnick would try and control and nullify.
Exactly.
Because the momentum just went all in Villa's favour, and they would, like, as soon as they got the 1 goal, you could see there were probably going to be another.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, man. Like, man, fuck it. They put in their Coutinho. We put in our Sancho. We put in our, put in our Donny. We put in our people early and give them time to do something. Like, so Ragnick has made some mistakes, but I still believe in his process. I think his only problem is he's trying to keep the job, and that might be to his detriment because he's doing things to keep the job as opposed to like, let's break this whole shit down and let's just drill the system in, and whoever gets it, and whoever doesn't. He wants to get results. He's caught between results and his system.
Yeah, I think when top 4 is in jeopardy, you kind of have to prioritize results, because you don't have a buffer to fail. I think for any of these top clubs, the kind of wages players are on, the level of transfer dealings that happen, missing out on Champions League money and even Champions League. Like, imagine all these players who have high reputations in the game. They are going to be itching to move if they don't play Champions League football for a season.
Yeah, but they're going to be the reasons we didn't get Champions League football.
Yeah.
So how dare you? How dare you? Like, all right, I'm out, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, can I give my little three?
Oh boy.
Okay. Couple things about United. Well, obviously, like I said with Chelsea, it's even worse here. It's even because you guys are supposed to compete for the title this year. But here's the thing, like, and I still don't have the good answer, but I'm gonna steer the path a little bit so you can guys weigh on what I'm gonna say. Is United better with or without Cristiano Ronaldo? That's the question. Is it better on the field as a team with him or without him?
How about I tell you both?
All right.
It's like, I said this a few weeks ago. It's like, if you play Cristiano Ronaldo in the press, there's some games he's going to get injured for, which he did. And then you just put in the players that aren't injured, but I feel like he does hurt us in the press sometimes, but he also scores goals too. So it's both. Like, listen, man, we ultimately, should we have gotten Cristiano Ronaldo? If we're like thinking forward to the future at the beginning of the season, I say yes or no, because him coming there affects Martial. But then when you look at Martial's disposition, you like,
and Rashford too.
Like,
he kind of took a step back.
Yeah, and I don't know. This is a whole.
Because I actually looked at it and I looked at stats. As great as he is individually, Juventus was better before he got there. Even if he had amazing stats at Juventus, they actually were better without Ronaldo. Before Ronaldo, they actually took a step back with Ronaldo.
You're talking about the season that they lost with him, or what about the seasons they won with him?
Yeah, but they were further ahead in the Champions League even when they won without him before he came. So he came.
I think their overall team was better though before he got there.
Yeah,
he arrived as the team was like sliding down.
Is it the same situation with United though? Because United last year finished second.
Yeah, but what points we talking? Like,
that was in Liverpool's bad season as well.
Yeah,
Chelsea's bad season.
We didn't start the season planning on finishing second. Tell you that. We was like, all right, we'll get fourth again.
All right.
Plus,
so that's the one thing. The second thing is.
Well, let me answer. Just answer.
Yeah, sure.
Listen, Pirlo didn't have the experience, and we're gonna blame Ronaldo for inexperienced Pirlo. As much as I love Pirlo as a player, he wasn't ready to be a coach of Juventus.
So the second thing is Jadon Sancho a bust? A lot of people say he is.
6 months into the season, what people are those? Polish people?
No, the pundits. I was Steve McManaman.
Polish pundits?
No. I listened to. I don't know. It was either Steve McManaman or what's the main guy on the British TV show. What are the pundits? I'll tell you who that was.
But these are the
Sky or
who? Which one? One more time.
Was it on BBC or Sky? Do you know?
On Sky. Who's that? Who's on Sky?
Neville Carragher?
No, someone else.
But these are the same media. These are the same analysts who also blame Chelsea for giving up on Salah, De Bruyne too soon. So young players.
But they didn't cost that much money though, De Bruyne and Salah, and he cost a lot of money, Sancho.
But how does it matter if there's somebody who has talent? If you had just persisted with them, you could have.
Well, it matters because the price tag puts expectations and.
I mean, that's something for United's financial guy to figure out. Like, how does it matter to somebody who's observing the game if what price the person came in? I mean, if you believe in the guy in the talent. Give him time. Like, these guys are so young.
He's 21, bro. How is a 21-year-old a bust?
Also, like, it depends on like how the team is doing overall as well. Because I don't think Grealish has been great at Man City, but because everyone else around him is absolutely balling out, people don't really talk about it as much. Yeah. He's allowed to settle in quietly without much pressure, without much focus. I mean, he's not been terrible for them, but he's also not looked at the level that the other guys there are. He's not done what you'd expect him to do in that team.
I remember Sterling took a long time under Man City. John Stones, he was out of the building at one point, even though he cost a lot of money for a centre back.
Bernardo Silva had a quiet season as well, and then he's come back really strong afterwards. But the thing is, at City, you can get away with it because everyone else is doing their job. And at Man United, he's come into an unsettled team, a team that's changed managers, different systems, players around him aren't, being consistent. So I think in time it will be good. I mean, if you had to rank the transfer as of today, it's a failure. But failure shouldn't be judged. Failure shouldn't be judged this quickly. It's one that you'll judge in time because he's a young player as well. So he's underachieved so far. But
whoa. Jesus. Listen, was João Cancelo, is this his second year at City? Last year,
he was pretty consistent from the start, to be fair.
No, he wasn't that good last year because they started him and then Walker took the job back last year. That's how Walker got into the Euros, as part of the, and then now, you hardly see Walker, and Walker's speed is still so incredible. His recovery speed, and now back last year, they were like, we'll still play Walker, but this year he's the starting guy out there.
Yeah, his game's gone to another level, but he wasn't terrible last season. But also, again, everyone around him was doing their job, so you didn't really notice. It's if you're a big money signing in a team that isn't doing great, people will pick up on it more.
And I agree with you on that. But I'm just saying he's another example of who could have been considered a bust as far as Martin. Martin is so quick.
Oh, that's not my judgment. I said that the media is saying that, so I just asked you an open
question. But
what
do you think? You think he's a bust?
I think it's just like Lee said. I agree. He's been a disappointment so far. Yeah.
I'd calm down, guys. I'd definitely calm down.
I mean,
what about Lukaku? Is Lukaku a bust so far? Let's talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but the thing is, none of these guys are at their clubs as finishing tomorrow.
So is Werner.
Yeah. So, none of these guys are getting transferred tomorrow. So, you can judge a player's career at a club, once if the club has decided to give up on that, yes, which we did for Morata, for example. That was a bust. That was a failure of a transfer. It didn't work out at Chelsea. So I would wait before say those things.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine eventually.
Talking of one of Chelsea's busts, Shevchenko got fired after 2 months at Genoa this week. So he won't be becoming Chelsea manager anytime soon when Tuchel gets fired.
What happened? Wasn't he really good with the Ukrainian team?
The Ukraine, yeah.
Yeah, he was with the national team, and then that was.
He was on a short list. He was on a short list last week for the job that Poland has to fill before the playoff against Russia because our coach left.
Well, he's available
Christmas
now.
Day. On Christmas Day, no. They're taking the previous coach that coached Poland in 2016 when Poland went to the quarterfinals of the Euros. So they're bringing him back for the playoff. But Shevchenko was on the short list for the job. He was one of the candidates. Also, Marcel Koller, former manager of. He also did very well in one of the Euros. I forgot what team he managed, but he was also on the. He managed Austria. Not in Euros, but he managed before Euros. So there were some candidates after Paulo Sousa sent a text message on the Christmas day that he was leaving the job for Flamengo.
Saying I'm off to Brazil, guys. Bye.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about Arsenal getting this many games off? I feel like it's like the league is like, Arsenal, you want a snow day? Yeah. We'll take a snow day. All right.
Arsenal have had like 2 COVID cases.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
And
Also, how
they
you feeling?
send players out on loan.
Mhm.
Their players, they're actually citing players on AFCON duty as a reason.
Yeah,
Like,
as,
We
as if
had
you
more
didn't know
COVID
that.
cases on this podcast.
Arsenal's the only team that I'm sorry, can I say that again, Lee?
I said we've had more COVID cases on this podcast
Right.
than Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. Like Arsenal's the only team that gets away with calling their players in AFCON COVID. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Or Xhaka's weekly suspension.
exactly.
They should account for that.
That's not Spurs' fault. Like Spurs should be able to play them in the and all your players are from the youth system. Use your youth system.
But this is where the Premier League is at fault.
100%.
They've made their rules so vague and absolutely no transparency in which matches are getting called out, which are not. That teams are gonna exploit it, and it is gonna look as shady as it is looking right now, because teams have been able to get away with it this entire period. I mean, Burnley, like Sean Dyche, he's such a hypocrite. He's the guy who's consistently shut down this 5 subs thing, which the rest of Europe has. And I recently heard an interview of him where he's like, player welfare. I mean, that's a new age thing. Frank Lampard was playing 60 games a season back in the day. I didn't hear about player welfare back then. Like, what is player welfare? And then Burnley's like rescheduling game after game after game.
They hope that they hope they will stay up in the Premier League that way, that they're gonna just cancel all the games and they will be added to next season as a 21st team.
I think it might bite them though, because they're gonna have to, at this rate, they're gonna have to play like every weekend and midweek. Like the games won't stop, and they've got a small squad, so playing that often, if they get any injuries or if the players are tired, I think that's gonna fuck them.
Yeah, which got even smaller because they sold their best forward. So
yeah, but I mean, I won't miss Burnley if they go. I'll be honest.
Burnley and Sean Dyche are on my kill list along with Newcastle. They've been firmly added to it.
Well, speaking of Newcastle, right? So here's my question: why didn't the owners of Newcastle? Why didn't they buy Brighton Hove? Like, why were they so gung ho about buying Newcastle when they could have bought like a better team? Now I know it's like Newcastle has a fan base, but is Newcastle's fan base that big?
Yeah,
because of what they did when they finished second twice behind United.
It's one of the stadiums I actually went to several times, and it was my favorite crowd in England.
It's because it's a big city with one club as well.
One club. It's a one club city. So.
Like Brighton are the only club in Brighton, but Brighton's not a huge place, and it's not a huge football place either. They've got good fans, Brighton, but they're not as fanatic as Newcastle fans. Yeah. And also Brighton weren't up for sale. They have fairly wealthy owners who didn't have any interest in selling. I mean, the only other club that was up for sale at the same time as Newcastle was us. But Newcastle,
So why didn't you guys go with the Newcastle owners?
They wanted Newcastle, so
it's kind of weird.
I think that there's potentially more money to be made if Newcastle goes well than if.
Right. Okay.
I think Newcastle's ceiling is higher than ours. So, I'll admit that. I mean, it might not be for a couple of years if they go down, but there's more potential there at that club than there is at ours in terms of they could turn them into the next Man City. It would be more difficult to do that with us, I think.
So they could turn them into a Man City with a crowd.
Yeah.
A Man City.
That's another reason
to go to games.
That's another reason, Ian, what you're talking about, like Pep's first season, he was struggling and things were going wrong, but there wasn't this sense of what you're feeling right now. United, Chelsea is similar, that every game is a test, is like a testimonial, what's going to happen for the rest of to the manager. It's also because there's not a lot of chatter about Man City from fans on either in the city or because you guys dominate Manchester.
What could they say? They everything's going great. There's nothing,
No, even when things are not going great, isn't this the sky's falling off kind of
I remember seeing some interviews though in Pep's first season. I saw some fan interviews and it was hilarious what they were saying. They're like, he plays all this tippy tappy football and it's all
but that's the funny thing. That's those fans have no idea about football. How could you question that? Like,
but Ian, those are the real fans.
These were proper City fans as well. These were like hardcore City fans.
Wow.
The ones that saw them in like League Two or League One or whatever, and they were still like, "Oh, he plays too many short passes," because they weren't winning games. And now you speak to those same fans, and they ain't saying shit.
I remember Guardiola gave an interview where he said, "What is tackling? I never coach tackling. Why do I have to coach tackling?" And people lost their shit. They're like, "What? If tackling is one of the core tenets of our game. You're not."
They've never seen Barcelona play. They've never seen Barcelona. They just pressure the ball out of you with Xavi and Iniesta never got cards, and like as far as creating turnovers, these guys created so many turnovers without touching you. It's like you look up and there's three people around you. You're sealed off from your teammates. You just cough the ball into their hands. They turn around and they go score on you.
English football fans are weird though. Like I always have this memory of, I have a friend who's a Fulham fan and I went to a Fulham game with him at Craven Cottage like years ago when Martin Jol was manager. They had Clint Dempsey playing up front for them and they won a game 4-1. I'm trying to think who it was against. I think it might have been against Blackburn at the time or Reading. It was someone in blue and white, but they won the game 4-1. They played really good football. They had ballers in their team that time. They had like Brian Ruiz, not Brian Ruiz. Was it him? The South American guy or Costa Rican guy, but they had him. They had Danny Murphy.
Cruz.
No, it wasn't Rocky Santa Cruz, but they were. Okay. It wasn't Brian Ruiz. It was someone Ruiz, but they were playing great football. And there were still fans sitting around. They were winning 4-1. There were fans sitting around me going, "Get it fucking forwards quicker." They just wanted the ball to go forwards quickly. And then as the game was over, they won 4-1. And at Craven Cottage, you have to walk from the dugouts all the way across the pitch to the tunnel. And as he was walking across, a Fulham fan leant over the front of the thing and just went, "You'll fucking get us relegated playing like football like that." It's like, dude, they just won 4-1. They just dismantled the team. Damn. I think they got in Europe that year, maybe.
The Chelsea fans
just weird.
Chelsea fans absolutely went like in the last months of Maurizio Sarri. Fuck Sarri ball. That's the most toxic I've seen. The crowd. Sometimes the board can be fidgety and stuff, but the crowd's always been pretty much on board with every manager, except for Rafa Benitez, of course. But there were circumstances to that. But fuck Sarri ball, you could hear it on every broadcast. It just came because people are like, he's trying to play out of the back. Why is he trying to do that?
Well, let's talk about, you bringing up Sarri just made me think about like a thing I wanted to talk about today. And we brushed on it a little bit, is talking about Everton. Like, as far as Everton firing Rafa Benitez and they're trying to find a new coach. First, I want to say to Everton fans, you get what you create. It's like, I know Rafa Benitez was a Liverpool coach, right? But every coach was somebody else's team's coach. And I know it's football and people's memories are long, but it's like the more pressure you put Rafa Benitez under as a coach, the less effective he became as a coach. And the less effective he becomes as a coach, the more losses and points you drop. And so, yeah, you fired him, but look where you are now. You're above the relegation zone, just barely above the teams down there. And the fans have to be partially responsible for these results, for just having the signs, for being negative, for wanting the guy not to be the coach. The only way he's not going to be the coach is if they lose. and they've been losing. So, and it's only because he was a Liverpool coach. And it's like the immaturity of fans sometimes. You can cost your own team, and now Everton is like looking for like Martin. Who do you think should be the next Everton coach?
I don't know. Probably Martinez will go back there. I don't know. It's definitely a huge letdown. The last great coach they had was David Moyes, and you guys had to take him. You know, you put Everton in a bad cycle. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's a strange football club because, you know, like they don't have a bad team on paper. I didn't understand why Benitez brought and played almost in every game Samuel Rondon, for example. That was kind of strange because
I tell you why. Because Calvin Lewis and Richarlison Lewis was injured and Richarlison was either suspended or injured.
Yeah, so Richarlison, another weird player, where there was a rumor 2 years ago that Barcelona offered 100 million for him, and that offer was rejected. There was I don't believe that's the case, but he was on the team when Brazil won the Copa America. He was one of the starters.
He went to the Olympics as well, so he was fucked when he came back this summer.
Yeah, and he is when you watch the documentary on Amazon Prime, one of those documentaries where they follow the team inside and outside out, he is a crazy guy. He's actually a crazy person. So
I get that.
Probably he has his moments where he can be great, and he has his moments where he's not so great. But the whole Everton team looks like they're full of players like that. I mean, Alan. It's another case. He also technically very good player. He was at Napoli. He did very well there. Not so great at Everton. Bunch of other rejects. Iwobi's still there, right?
Yep.
So like on paper they have a lot of expensive players, but it just didn't come together. And it's the second time in the Premier League when Benitez, who before Klopp was the Jesus for the previous generation of Liverpool fans, because he won the Champions League, obviously. It looks like it could be the graveyard for him, and it was almost the graveyard for Ancelotti. Even Ancelotti, who made more, he accomplished a little bit more than Benitez. Still, he wasn't successful.
A little bit more.
But he wasn't successful there at Everton either.
No, you're talking about Everton, yeah.
Ancelotti,
okay.
Yeah. Successful there.
I believe Benitez also, like, I'm not just blaming Everton fans, I also blame Benitez for even taking the job. It's like what are you doing? Like, you're gonna get offers, bro.
I think he still had a house in Merseyside.
I think he was just like,
he was just like, fuck it, I want to live there again.
Right.
It's not the job I want, but who cares? I think he's regretting it now.
I think if he had waited around, he could have gotten the Newcastle job.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, football. Like I have no, what's the word? I don't feel bad for him because you just don't take the job. Like wait around the job. All you got to do is be open. You're going to get another shot. You won a Champions League. Your name is still in the hat. You don't have to take that job. The problems it's going to bring. You don't want to hurt your legacy with a place in a team in the same town. Now it's just not worth it.
Funniest thing for me was Luca Dean leaving to Villa.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out and said, like, I didn't want to leave. It was purely because of him.
Right.
And then 4 days later, the guy gets fired.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't. I mean, that's somewhere where like the board should step in. Like, surely they knew the kind of run Everton has been on, that a sacking might be around the corner. So why would you sell the guy?
The board at Everton don't seem smart though. Like, they've had such a scattergun approach to hiring managers. They have no philosophy, which is why each time a new manager comes in, they have like a different like approach to a squad of players. They add a couple of people that are more their style, and then the squad is just a mishmash of players that have been recruited from a series of managers that all have different views on football. Right. There's no consistency there. And then you look at the people they're approaching now, like the first thing they did apparently was call Mourinho, and he said like, no, I don't want to come there. And then you look at the other people they're looking at, like, will they give it to Ferguson permanently? Will they give it to Lampard? Do they want Rooney? Like it's like, you know, there's no real clear defined way of doing things there. And you know, certain clubs can get away with that. Like, you know, Chelsea can hire managers with different philosophies because they've got the money to make it work, and they've got.
But even that, but it hurts even Chelsea. Like you can't, because right now if you look at the squad, it's the players have been recruited over the past 3 or 4 years to suit 3 or 4 completely different systems. I think Lampard, Tuchel, there's still some similarities in terms of like having a high press, but still they're like, he was more focused on wingers. This dude wants, you know, inside forwards and wing backs. So,
but because a lot of them are genuinely world-class players, you can still do something. Like Tuchel could come into Lampard's squad and still win something, even though they weren't necessarily the players he wants. He's good enough to make them work. Whereas at Everton, when you're doing it with Alex Iwobi and Seamus Coleman, shit's not the same. You know, it's a bit of a strange one. Like they just need to figure out what the hell they want. And you know, I think if Rooney went there, he'll maybe do a good job.
Please don't. And I'm just not a shot at you. I'm like, I'll tell you.
I think he might do a good job short term, but long term it'll end badly. I think they probably will go for him purely on emotion.
But I don't think Rooney should take it because he's doing something really remarkable right now in the championship.
I think the thing is though, like if he stays at Derby and then he gets relegated there, and Everton have gone and hired someone else, if this is the job he really wants, like it might not come around again, or it might not come around again for years.
It's Everton. It'll come around. It's Everton. There's no way. There's not.
It might. But I mean, Rooney's the job might come around again in general, but it will. But Rooney's stock might not. It might go down after this.
So this is my Rooney speech. This is Wayne Rooney. If you can hear me, I'm looking at the championship table. And you have been docked 21 points, and you are 23rd out of 24th, which means I don't know what the fuck Barnsley, who is below you, is doing. That coach should just be fired every day, even if they come back for the next game.
They did fire the guy, I think, who started the season there.
And whoever's replaced that guy should be fired too, because why is a team that's been docked 21 points above you?
I think the goalkeeper is one ex-Chelsea.
Word. But Wayne Rooney at Derby, you have 14 points. You are 5 points behind Peterborough. You are 7.
I mean, on the form guide, they're the 3rd best team right now. Last 5 games.
On last 5. If you just need to stay at Derby, because pulling this off is worth everything. It's worth. This is the thing that legends are made of. Like being the coach of Everton and finishing mid-table is going to be nothing compared to you saving Derby. If you save Derby, even if you don't save Derby by 1 point, no one will ever forget that.
Yeah.
And this is why you stay. And from that, you'll have your choice of jobs for the next 10 years. So stay with Derby. I think the whole country, I spoke to Lloyd today, and I said this, and he said the whole country is rooting for Derby right now, just based on this scenario.
I'm not.
You know? You're not? Why? Because
I've got historic beefs with Derby.
Okay. So. And what about the rest of the country besides you with beefs?
Nottingham Forest fans and Leicester fans won't want Derby to stay up. They're all local rivals.
Right.
I've got some beef with them back from old championship playoff games. When their manager was a dick, their fans were dicks, their goalkeeper was a dick in the penalty shootouts.
A lot of dicks.
All dicks.
One podcast.
I'm happy to see them suffer. I hope they end up in the Conference League. I hope they
do?
go bust.
God.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
funny is
For
like
the
I see.
romance of this, I want Red to save this team and keep them up. And bro, you can have any job you want within reason, but you stay here. And
I mean, now I'm looking at the table and it looks like they need 8 points. They are 8 points behind Reading. Reading is 21st. So
and looks like even
fucking-
Reading had a 6-point deduction.
Yeah.
Like-
Also, Reading lost like 7-0 to Fulham, and other teams they got knocked out of the FA Cup by a team from the National League North who aren't even full time.
Damn.
Like Reading are in bad way. They're in a bad way. I think Andy Carroll's contract expired this week.
Andy Carroll,
short.
wow.
Yeah, he's there. His short-term contract
Yeah,
expired
yeah.
this week, so
And they won 2 of their last 13. So
yeah, Reading are in a bad place.
So he can catch Reading. So Reading is just sitting there waiting.
8 points. 8
just
points.
waiting
That's
to
a
get
lot.
plucked.
8 points is literally 2 games. Feel like lose and drop points.
Yeah.
And there is Cardiff and Hull City, Birmingham and Swansea. So they're all former Premier League teams. Interesting.
Graveyard.
Yeah.
Wayne Rooney, please see this out, bro.
But while we're talking about championship, there's a team I'm secretly rooting for. It's Blackburn. They're 3rd. I need Blackburn in the Premier League. That would be fun.
Yeah, it's overdue. They're overdue to come back.
Yeah.
Bournemouth might come back.
I want
I think
Blackburn.
Bournemouth and Fulham will. They're both looking good.
They won Premier League. They're one of the few teams they won Premier League. Like
Fulham will come up and they'll go straight back down like they always do.
that's their style.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with Martin. It's been a while we've seen Blackburn in the Premier League.
2011, the last time I remember. Because what happened was, it was the season when City won with the Aguero goal. In the last, they stole the title from the United with the Aguero goal in the stoppage time. But like few weeks before that, Blackburn, that was last in the table, they won at Old Trafford. But it was like a major surprise. And that game cost the United the title, technically. Yakubu scored a hat-trick. I remember that game very well. Yakubu Yegbeni, because I used to party with him, with Yakubu Yegbeni in Tunisia in 2004 during the African Nations Cup. It's my boy.
Whoa.
Speaking of African Nations Cups, anybody been watching the games? I know Lee's been checking some out.
Yeah.
There's
been some mad upsets in those games.
I know Comoros,
Comoros,
yeah.
Has never scored a goal in a tournament, and they scored 3 to knock out Thomas Partey. Ghana? Is it Ghana? And sent Thomas Partey. Who else was on that Ghana team?
There's some pretty good players. I was watching Ivory Coast versus Sierra Leone the other day. That was 2-2. That was a crazy game. Because Ivory Coast had like Pepe, Zaha, Haller. They had like all these like Premier League players, like Premier League quality players. Haller's at Ajax now, where he's doing quite well. And yeah, they fucked it. Sierra Leone got back in the game, but there's been some mad ones. Equatorial Guinea beat someone good 1-0. But the best game I watched quality-wise was probably Nigeria-Egypt, because both those teams have got some good players, and it was 1-0. Iniacho scored the winner for Nigeria with a good finish.
Oh, I think I saw highlights of that one.
They have Amate, and they have the Ayew brothers.
Oh,
John Ayew, Andre Ayew.
From
because there was, I think I watched a Ghana game. I think they played Morocco, because Morocco won 1-0, and it was Sofiane Boufal, who used to play for Southampton, scored the winner.
Jesus.
For Morocco.
Talk about a blast from the past. How old is he?
He's still like only late 20s, I think, but he's he plays for Angers in France. Who are like a mid-table Ligue 1 team.
Yeah.
But the craziest game was, did you see the game where the referee called the time before?
Oh my God, yeah.
No, what happened?
So he called the game at like 89 minutes. And I think it was the Tunisia coach, was like walking onto the pitch, like, you can't finish this right now, because he finished on 89, but there was like there was a 2 red cards maybe, or a red card. There was some VAR decisions that had to be waited on for ages. And he was like, nah, I'm off the clock. And they had to, I think they were told to go out and play the rest of the game, but one of the teams refused or something. It got pretty wild.
Damn. What are you trying to beat traffic? Like, what are you doing, ref?
Yeah.
Like, stay till the end of the game. Ref the entire thing. I guess we can wrap it up. So we got Man United tomorrow. We got versus Brentford, and Leicester versus Spurs. We got more games coming up during this week too.
I just want to point out Southampton's next 3 league fixtures are Man City at home, Tottenham away, and then Man United away. I mean, so we might not be getting any points for a little while until we play Spurs.
You don't have to worry much about Man United. I mean, we don't.
I think we play Spurs next in the league.
We always play well at Old Trafford, but always lose. Like, we'll put a great fight up and we'll lose 3-2 or something.
I'll take that type of win.
But yeah, we've got an FA Cup game in between those as well. Like, we play Man City, then we play Coventry, then we play Spurs, then we play United.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for being on. Anybody got any last words or things they want to say? Martin, you haven't been on in a while. What you got?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of interesting things, because I was actually preparing for the podcast and I did some reading. And there's this guy. No, I did. There's this guy. It's pretty amazing story. You know, his name is Axel Kei. He was the youngest professional player in the history of American team sports when he made his debut in the Real Salt Lake B team last season in the age of 13. Oh. And now, last week, he signed a professional contract with the MLS, with the Real Salt Lake, and he was 14 years and 10 days old.
Wow.
Hey, you can be the new Freddie Adu.
So damn.
Younger than Freddie Adu was almost 15.
Jesus, bro.
Alphonso Davies was 15 and I think 2 months, and or like 6 months, and this guy barely 14 years old, and he'll be in the MLS.
Where does he play? What does he play? What position does he play?
He's a striker.
Oh,
very tall, 6'4".
That is crazy.
Yeah.
To play a 14-year-old striker, like if they actually put him on the pitch.
Yeah, his dad is from Ivory Coast, but he grew up in America. But his dad is from Ivory Coast.
I wonder how old was Davies when he started playing for, was it Toronto?
15 and a half.
He played for Whitecaps.
15 and a half, yeah.
15 and a half.
I checked. I made, actually, you know what? I just checked. I have some good stats for you guys that I'm going to read for you. Because I did, sometimes when I'm bored, I still do some stories for fun. And here is one of those stories. So I went through the leagues, and those are the records in the history of major leagues.
He does not look 14.
So Harvey
oh
Elliott.
My God.
How dare you, Neil?
No, I mean, that means that he's ready. Like, he's ready. I don't think
he's barely 14. He was 13 where he won the MVP of the B team.
Neil, I resent what you're accusating right now. Sorry.
So here are the stats.
No, I mean, he was in the US and he grew up in the US, so there's definitely no age fudging happening.
So here are the records.
Like I trust the US system.
So Harvey Elliott is the youngest player who ever played in the Premier League. He's the guy who's now at Liverpool. He played his first game for Fulham in the Premier League. He was 16 years old and 30 days. Okay. So that's the Premier League record.
That's pretty normal.
Okay. He's from San Diego. Yes, Holy shit!
Yes, he is.
He's our guy. Nah, he looks 18. He looks 18. Put him on.
Wisdom Amy from Bologna. In Serie A, he made his debut 15 years old and 274 days. Luca Romero from La Liga, he played for Real Mallorca 2 years ago. He was 15 years old and 219 days. And in the Bundesliga, it's 16 years. is the all-time record. So the guy is at least 1 year younger than any record in any leagues.
How'd you spell his name?
Axel Kei. 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 He's born in the Ivory Coast, but he moved to Brazil and stayed there till the age of 10, and then he came to America. So
He moved to Brazil?
So he has the
Yes, his father was a
perfect
professional
mix.
player.
He has the perfect mix of
His father
footballing.
played soccer.
Oh, so he went from football to football.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And now he's taking a pit stop in America.
So three countries have a chance of claiming him.
Yeah.
But he plays for United States last 3 years for junior teams. But
I mean,
he can still change it. He can still change it.
Yeah, he can still change it. Yeah. All right, Axel Kei.
Crazy. I'm just looking at him now.
There's a video on YouTube where he scores goals. He's actually pretty good with his feet. Very good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta check out these videos afterwards.
So are we gonna move to some team, some club in Europe is gonna bite?
Yeah, he's only signed for 2
soon.
years. He signed a professional contract because at this age, I think you can only sign for 2 years. So his contract will run out when he's 16 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who just moved to Europe recently? Was it Ricardo Pepi?
Pepe.
Oh yeah, Pepe.
Yeah, but he was 19.
He just went to a German team.
Yeah.
Old veteran.
He's done. He's already a failure.
He's done. Moving to Europe at the age of 19. What a loser.
Europe must be desperate. Getting an old guy like that at that age. 19. Jesus. Get it together, Germany.
Where do you go? Augsburg?
Yep.
Augsburg, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's played a game for them, hasn't he? I think already.
I think so.
He played a game, yeah. And Alex Kei also played games so far, so he's gonna play for them for Real Salt Lake. He's gonna play for them.
That's so crazy.
It'll be interesting to see if this guy Kai, what kind of path does he take? Does he go the route of folks like Pepe who've been in the MLS for a while and then they move, or like
he's a 6'4" center forward, so those are rare.
But like what Christian Pulisic did, right? He went straight to the youth setup at Dortmund and made his way through the ranks there. So he didn't play any MLS.
Yeah.
So be interesting to see what he does.
But, don't forget one thing, he's 14 years old and he's 6'4", so he can be 6'7".
That is crazy. How is he 6'4"? He could still switch sports to basketball. You might like we're all concerned about this motherfucker, but I'm gonna go play basketball.
Yeah,
football. All my friends are playing basketball. Fuck it.
Yeah, but his father is a soccer player, so it looks like he's committed to what he's doing.
Come on, Daddy. Train your boy right. Keep him in football.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks y'all for coming. Hey, Martin, it's been a minute that you've been on with all four of us.
Have him.
So it's good to have you. It's too bad it couldn't have been like closer to those two devastating losses to Chelsea, where you were dominated, tied up and parceled and put in the FedEx truck and delivered back home with them losses. But it's all good. We'll take it. Neil, now you know what it feels like to be a Man U fan these last few games, and
I already feel a little cheered up by looking at the new hope from San Diego.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it. Southampton's got a shot at him.
He used to play for the satellite team LA Galaxy has.
Yep.
They have a team in LA, they call it LA Galaxy San Diego.
He was 11 when he played, yeah.
So I think that's the team he used to play for before he joined this contract.
Neil is getting excited like he's a Chelsea Youth Academy grad. Like the only thing that gets him more excited is the fact that the kid is from San Diego.
Well, what are the odds he's at Cobham next year? I mean, can happen. He's at the Chelsea Academy in a few years. Might happen.
Who knows? Maybe one day Chelsea could sign him to loan him out.
yeah. While they really need him.
I actually found a video that I'm gonna post in a second.
And then try and buy him, get him back from loan, and the other club won't give it to you. That's what's happening with Emerson and Leon. Like we're trying to get our player back, they won't.
He's got COVID now, hasn't he?
And he's now got COVID. Perfect.
He's like, fuck Tuchel.
Because he wanted to come back, and apparently there's a price you can pay to break the clause.
Mm-hmm.
But Leon's being real assholes about it. They're like, nah, we want a little more, and then he got COVID. So
They're charging you more for your own player.
we are almost having to pay the price of buying a player for getting our own player back.
Great business.
It's just
Contract's a contract.
Yeah, that's what you get for reneging. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But we got this guy, speaking of loan players, we got this guy Kennedy from Flamengo back on loan, because ultimately we realized, okay, who's there then? Like, who do we have? So we had this guy who's riding the bench at Flamengo, and we got him back. He's got lots of tattoos on his body. So that's the extent of what I've been able to understand about it. He used to play for Newcastle a few seasons back.
Yeah, I remember the guy.
And Benitez got a few good goals.
How can I share the screen? I have a great photo of this Axel Kei guy.
Just press share screen and see what happens.
All right, let me see.
Martin, close all other tabs.
Martin, could you even see where the share screen thing is?
Where is it?
At the bottom, it's in green. But I might be the only person.
No, we all see it.
We all see it. So this is just Martin. Huh?
See it?
Don't play the video though.
Yeah, that's it.
Damn.
Yeah.
He looks strong, man, for 14.
He looks strong.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, I can't wait to check him out.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to like full screen so we can just be out, and then boom. All right, thanks guys. Thank you all for listening. We love y'all, and we'll talk more football next week on the Soccer Comic Rant 1.